I've had this tea on my needles and I really need the motivation to finish it. And I really want to break my own personal rule of only having one sock project on my needles at a time, but I need the motivation to do it. So grab a cup of something cozy and let's chat about where I found maybe some motivation in an unsuspecting place. Hey guys, it's Katie here. If you're unfamiliar with me, I am the Katie behind all of the patterns at Katie DeGroff Knits, the host of the Katie Knits podcast, and creator of all of the other videos you see here on my channel. Don't forget, take a moment and subscribe so you don't miss out on another one of my videos. And you're watching, so give this video a like, a thumbs up, and drop me a comment what you are working on while we catch up. Today's video is not going to be a regular podcast. I kind of wanted to take a moment and maybe talk about something that is what I think trending a little bit in the yarn community and kind of making a comeback from what I see anyway. And that is knit-alongs. When I started knitting, like 17, 18 years ago, knit-alongs were you didn't really see too many of them. You saw mystery knit-alongs. You didn't really see too many actual random knit-alongs. And I kind of feel like they died off for a while, and now they're making a comeback. I'm just gonna run down just a teeny bit for a moment of what a knit-along is. You're gonna see a lot of abbreviations here, and for the sake of this video, I knit. I don't crochet, but there are also crochet-alongs and make-alongs. I'm just gonna refer to everything as a knit-along, but there are also other avenues that are make-alongs in your chosen craft. So don't feel like I'm just excluding everything else. You're going to see a lot of abbreviations. You're either going to see KAL, CAL, or MAL. Knit-along, crochet-along, and make-along. Typically, during one of these make-alongs, you will either pick a specific pattern from a bundle of patterns, maybe a pattern from a designer, maybe a specific yarn from a certain yarn dyer, or it's fair game. These are great sources of inspiration too. So even if you're just lurking and you're not participating, you can see what everybody else is making, what they're using, what dyers, colors, modifications. Maybe you will see something that you can put away in your toolbox for use at a later time. You may be wondering, where can I find these? There are several great groups on Ravelry. KAL Fanatics, Colourful knit-alongs and crochet-alongs. Those are two of the ones that I tend to gravitate towards when I'm finding. And anything that I talk about will be linked below. So you don't have to pause this and write it down and then go look it up. There'll be a link below. So these are two major groups on Ravelry. You can also search the abbreviation KAL or CAL or MAL, and that will bring up threads or topics or patterns that have those abbreviations in them. So that may help direct you. You can also put in the hashtag KAL or CAL, etc., on Instagram. That will also bring up knit-alongs, posts that are hashtagged with knit-along. A lot of great podcasters will host knit-alongs, dyers, designers. There's a myriad. Yarn shops will host knit-alongs. So you can find dozens upon dozens of them. You just need to look just a little bit. You can reach out to yarny friends and say, hey, do you know of any? And go from there. Most knit-alongs do come with prizes, which is great. I've personally never won any, and I don't really care. But it is cool to have the potential to win a prize. If you do want to compete for prizes or participate in a knit along, make sure you read the rules. There will be either one pinned post or pinned topic that has all the rules. Do you need to pick a specific pattern? Specific pattern from a specific bundle, designer, use specific yarn? Are there any specifics? Just make sure that if you're like, hey, I really want to try to win that prize, and you put all this work into it, at the end, you kind of missed something in the beginning. So check out the rules. Most of these are very fluid. They're very easygoing. The communities are wonderful. Not only will the organizer be present, but everybody else will too. And it's great to have, personally, I think, the more opinions, the better. You never know what's going to work for you. More and more, I am seeing the chatty portion of knit-alongs kind of step away from Ravelry just a bit. Some people are moving to Discord channels. Some people are creating hashtags where you can chat and come together on social media. You can just search for that hashtag and it'll bring up all the posts with it. Or you can join a Discord server, or they may have community threads in or on YouTube. And there are still a ton that have a traditional thread on Ravelry. So check those out. Make sure you know where all the chatter's happening so you can participate if you want to. I've personally never seen a knit-along where you have to participate in the chatter. I kind of like to lurk most of the time, but I will occasionally post progress or updates or ask questions or comment on somebody else's project. So the freedom is there for you to be as social as you want to be. Sometimes they will even have Zoom meetups, and you can participate if you want to. You want to participate in the Zoom, but you don't want to have your video posted? Fine, you can do that. These are a great way to be as social as you want to be. Now that we've got the little bit about what is a knit-along out of the way, so earlier this year, I had casted on Tori Yu's, stepping on my yarn, Prospect Tee. The whole intention for this project was for me to have a new top to wear to the Fiber Witch Festival, which was held in Salem, Massachusetts last month. I did great. Got the back panel done, was going to pick up my fronts, and then Rebecca Clow came out with a new pattern, and within an hour of that coming out, I shopped my stash, wound up the yarn, and cast it on. That is, of course, the No-Stee Tee. Wound up finishing that and wearing that to Fiber Witch instead, which led me to have my Prospect Tee in hibernation for just a little bit. So I pulled it back out and I'm like, do I really want to finish this? And I do. I love the texture. It's kind of hard to see in this variegated yarn up close, but it's so pretty. And yes, I do want to finish it. I do have quite a bit of yardage, so I kind of want to make it long sleeve instead of just short sleeve. But then, out of the blue, I go on Instagram and Tori posts, she is having a tee and tank knit along. How perfect is that? With prizes, which are fabulous too. It ran, or is running, from May 15th to August 31st. That is a very doable time frame for me to get this tee done. Whips are welcome. And I wasn't sure, I'm like, well, if whips aren't welcome, I only have the upper back panel done, so I could technically rip it out and restart it if I wanted to. But whips were welcome, so I'm like, that's perfect. And it is kind of tee and tank geared. So, another knit along tip. You ever have any questions? Just ask. Chances are nobody is going to bite your head off for asking a question. Tori had started a Discord channel for the knit along, so I hopped over there as soon as it started and I asked her, I'm like, hey, can I make this long sleeve? I know this is like summery themed, but can I do a long sleeve? Yes! So it's perfect. It literally is the motivation that I need with a soft deadline. Like if I make it before August 31st, great. I can be eligible for prizes and it's wonderful. But if not, it's still going to get me motivation to get back into working it, and sort of a guideline for when I'd like to have it done. I'm not the kind of person that likes to put myself in too tight of a box or too small of a, deadlines and everything. I kind of like some freedom too. So Tori's knit along came at the absolute perfect time. Now, something else that I sort of a soft rule I put on myself was I really don't want to have more than one sock project on my needles at any time. Why, you may ask? Just because in the last year, I have gone through my whips twice. I have frogged a lot of projects, mainly sock projects. I will just cast them on and then I'll get maybe like the toe or the cuff and like a little bit done and they sit. And I really don't want to make them. They were a rapid cast on, an instant gratification cast on, but I don't really want the finished product. I didn't really like working on them. So I really only wanted one sock project on my needles. Well, I have one on my needles right now, and that is the November Cuff Club socks from Summer Lee. Now these are helically knit and I'm working them 2 at a time. So they're not exactly the most portable. I have 2 pairs of socks. They're both on separate needles. My contrast color, I split that yarn, but then my other color, I'm pulling from the inside of the ball and the outside. So they're not really treadmill friendly. And I kind of have been, it took me about 6 months to train myself to be able to knit on the treadmill. And I tried with these twice and it just didn't work. And they're just not very portable. I could cast on another sock that is much more portable. Well, I remembered, hey, Tori's knit along came and it's the perfect motivation for my prospect tee. Is there a sock knit along I could join? And I remembered. I saw on Leah Loves to Knit's podcast about a month ago, I think it was, she had said the Seaside sock along is coming. So I looked up the rules, regulations, all that jazz, and pretty much you just knit socks. Doesn't matter. There's like a laundry list of things you can do to get bonus entries for prizes, which is great. I already have the exclusive charms that were designed by Kelsey of Littlest Charm Co. for the knit along. I will put a photo up here. The most adorable SPF sunscreen bottle and flip-flop. So I have those. And if you use one of Leah's sock patterns, that's an additional entry too. And I had purchased Leah's Dragonfly sock pattern the second it came out, and I've wanted to knit it up ever since. So, perfect excuse. It is a beach themed because it's like seaside. So if you use beachy yarns, if you use anything with a beachy name, that just makes it more fun. So I went and pulled some yarns from my stash. So the first combo that I pulled is this beautiful skein from Peepaloo Fields. It's absolutely beautiful. It's got some purple and some blues. To me, it seems very beachy, very seashell-y. And out of a row 1 month, I have these 2 beauties from Solstice Yarns that I thought paired well. Socks, heels, cuffs, toes, little poppy accent. I thought that might be really cute. Beachy colors-esque. Then I also found this skein in my stash from Loom Wool. Absolutely beautiful, ever so slightly pale, like pink sands is what it reminded me of. And then I had this little random mini from an old advent from the Yarn at Home Mom. I thought those looked perfect together. So I have 2 options. I also, and this little mini decided to come undone. Let me rewind him real quick. I also pulled, I'm like, well, these are brand new skeins. What do I have in things that I've recently worked in or things, that are just laying around. So I have this leftover from my Prep Squad socks. This is just a Hue Loco tweed fingering. I found this adorable spun right round mini. Thought those would look super fun together too. So now I have 3 options. I will probably be casting on one of these little groups. I just don't know which to start with. And they are different compositions. These are a tight twist 2-ply and these are a smooth 4-ply. So I'm not exactly sure. I don't know. Maybe I'll flip a coin. But that knit along runs until July 31st, so I can at least get one of these Dragonfly socks pairs done. And she's also coming out with a new shorty pattern, I believe this week, either this week or next week. And I can absolutely get a pair or 2 of shorties done too. So I think it will be very fun. And it gives me another sock project on my needles. And I'm justifying it by participating in the knit along, and it is going to be a portable project because even with minis for accents, heels, cuffs, toes, all that jazz, I'm not helically knitting with 2 colors all the time and 2 pairs of socks and 3 balls of yarn, and it's just, yeah, it's gonna be portable regardless of what I choose. And I also pulled, this is, I consider SpongeBob to be, you know, seaside themed and maybe, you know, beachy and ocean themed. So I had a SpongeBob bag from Tia's Terrific Threads. I had got her SpongeBob collab kit with Kelsey of Littlest Charm Co. I gave the yarn to the girls. I kept some of the markers and the bag because I just thought it was too cute. I love me some SpongeBob. But I will be using this as well because it's beachy and sea themed, and why not? Long story short here is if you're looking for maybe a little bit of extra knitting mojo and maybe some soft deadlines for yourself, and hey, even if there's a chance to win prizes, meet yarny friends or new acquaintances, pick up tons of inspo and great ideas, maybe some modification ideas you can put in your toolbox for later use. Don't forget to check out knit-alongs. They are great. And even if you can't participate, maybe you'll discover some new to you dyers or grab designers' patterns at a discount that you've always wanted to try. The possibilities are endless, but definitely give knit-alongs a try because they're helping me to pick back up a project and complete it and justify casting on something that I just want to do. In the comments below, let me know, are you going to participate in Leah Loves to Knit Seaside Sock Along or Tori's Tees and Tanks Knit Along? Or are you participating in a knit along I have no idea about? And maybe that'll give me motivation to cast something else on and join in. Drop those below and we can all gather inspiration from them. I am going to go and decide which sock yarn to go cake up and get those Dragonfly socks started. And I'm up to the point on my prospect tee where I need to pick up a front. So today's goal is to pick up a front for that knit along and pick out yarn and wind some yarn for some socks for the other knit along. Great little motivation. You can post every day or just lurk. Who knows? But I hope everybody finds some inspiration and joy and happiness in their life. And until we chat again, happy knitting, everybody.